Hi. I made a video yesterday and didn't get uploaded until today because my internet was being a bastard. Today's been interesting. I had the day off, which means I'm supposed to rest, which I did quite a lot of. I think I slept until about 5 o'clock. I think I went to bed around 5 a.m. I need a haircut. Yeah, I had some really, really weird dreams, and I went to the doctor yesterday about my ears, and the doctor wasn't so cordial. It didn't help me very much. My right ear drum is ruptured, but it was healing, and it may or may not have had an infection. Not one necessarily she could see, but she saw a lot of congestion, but she wasn't going to give me an antibiotic, and she wanted me to talk to my Lyme doctor. So I did that, and I called them yesterday morning, and they got back to me yesterday evening while I was at rehearsal, of course. And then this morning at 9 a.m., which woke me up and in the middle of my horrible nightmare. And the doctor, this new PA, noted that I was asleep and said, "Oh, I'll call you back, or you'll call me back." And I had every intention to call her back. Even when Jackie left for rehearsal, I thought I should call her back. But I couldn't wake up enough to do it. About 5 o'clock, she called me back, and I was like, "Thank you for calling me back. I've been asleep all day." We talked about it, and she thinks that there may be something going on, so they ordered some ear drops and a pretty low-grade antibiotic that helps a lot with ears. I have some pain behind my eardrum, by my earlobe, but it's not swollen yet, which is a good sign, because if it's swollen, it could be mastoiditis, which sometimes causes you to have surgery, to have a tube put in your ear. I've never had problems with my ears, really, with the exception of maybe one event that I remember. I don't know if I was a sophomore or a junior in high school, probably a junior. I had this horrible ear pain for about a week, and it went away. There's too much going on at the time to care about my body. I was pretty dissociated. I don't even realize that there's a word for it. I've learned the longer I've been sick that I'm really, really good about dissociating from my body. And I think a lot of people get confused when they look at me and they meet me in person, because I don't really look like I'm sick. I don't act like I'm sick. And most of the time it's because I'm dissociated from my body. It takes a really long time when people ask me how things feel to actually think and internalize enough to feel like pain or what's going on. So when something gets my attention, it's got to be pretty rough. So Jackie's coming home from rehearsal. I'm going to go get that. I've had some really screwed up dreams the last few days, and they probably result in the fact that I don't know, I've watched a lot of Paranormal State, which probably makes them a little odd. I spent a lot of time thinking about past lives and a lot of existential thinking the last few days. Sometimes I get in these modes where I wonder if the little voice inside me can be transplanted to other people. And if other people realize that they have like a small little internal version of themselves that has nothing to do with their physical being, you can call it whatever you want, a soul, whatever. There are a bunch of different names for that. But I wonder about that. I wonder about how other people go about their lives. I wonder what they do, like in the interim between me seeing them and me seeing them again. It's really odd, and it's been happening a lot for the last year. I spent a lot of time thinking about past lives and fate and odd coincidences, which there are many in my life. I think a lot of odd coincidences. And then I've been thinking a lot about, I think I've actually found a word. I think it's called precognitive. Which is when you feel you have the ability, you get odd thoughts or messages or video in your head of something or feeling of something, and later it comes to fruition, or somebody says something about an event and something sparks. And I guess some of this is from watching Paranormal State, mostly because I'm interested in watching the mediums. I know that all mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums, obviously. But most of them are precognitive or at least define themselves as precognitive, and Jackie jokes a lot about me being a prophet, which I sort of think is ludicrous in a way, and in a way I try to dispel from it as much as possible, because I just, no thank you. But I can't ignore that there have been a lot of odd coincidences in my life. And I've gotten to where, and I know people have asked me about him, I know some friends have, and I've gotten to where I don't talk about them very much. I think most of it is out of fear, partly out of fear of being wrong, but more so out of fear of being correct. I guess I can talk about it because their first show is this weekend. One of the groups that Jackie's working with, the director, his nephew is a Marine, and he wanted to do a show sort of about that. And basically, Jackie convinced him to do a show about letters home. And we were designing this spring, and I kept seeing the Purple Heart over and over and over and over again, and I said, you've got to put a Purple Heart on this uniform. You need to do it. It's just what I see. You know, the guard is dressed as the actual letters themselves. So the guard represents the communication and the support of this individual who is actually present in the show. And they have a stamp on their chest, and then they have a skirt that has writing all over it. It's a gorgeous uniform, and it has some, like, sort of some leanings towards different time periods of letters, and it has the airmail stripe going down the front of the uniform, which is from, like, the 40s, World War II. So there are a lot of things we pulled from. Purple Heart is very old, of course. But something warned me about this show, because the director, he is so emotionally involved with the subject, and his nephew was still in combat, and organized the show based on his nephew's experiences, which made me quite nervous, because for some reason I felt that his nephew was in danger, but I always had the feeling that he was going to make it. About 2 months ago, they finally heard from his nephew again, and he'd been shot 3 times and was in Germany recovering. And I told, and I don't know if Jackie had the realization or I had the realization, or maybe we both did on several occasions after she told me. I said, well, he's getting a Purple Heart, isn't he? And he is. He's getting a Purple Heart. So I don't know where that comes from. I don't understand it. It's not the only event. I get feelings like that about people. When I meet them, I sort of get a feeling about them, and sometimes it's hard, because I think sometimes I get more of a feeling of who they were in a past life than who they are in a current life, if that makes any sense at all to anybody. Yeah, but I remember having those feelings and being very, very, very young. I remember knowing that my parents were going to divorce long before they actually did. I remember always knowing as a kid that something was going to go wrong, or that something was wrong with me. But I never really expressed it to anybody, and maybe that was about being sick. It sort of concerns me, because I've told a lot of people that I have no anticipation of living very long. If it's true, I don't know, but it's definitely something I've felt from a very young age. I don't know. Weird stuff. Lots of weird, like, stuff. But it's been on my mind. And I've had really weird dreams about odd things, and a lot of, like, dysphoric dreams, which has been sort of upsetting. It's my phone. Yeah, nothing better than having dysphoric dreams about mutilating yourself. Awful. Anyway, I'm doing okay, just in my head a lot, and I think that's a result of being, of how busy things are. It's safer to be in my head than to be in my body. Anyway, that's my update. So, you guys take care.